Well, hello on the other side of the world. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. My Surface was not set up to auto update the time and date, and so it's in tomorrow for for the States time. And so I couldn't make it go back. It was set up for your tomorrow, which was my today. And yeah, it was just a hassle getting that. And then I had to reload everything back up. And I wish I had some pictures lined up for you, but I'll have to do that when I get back. I just have this one from my messy table. You could see my messy workspace. There's some dim sum and there's a mango cake, which I get every time I come here because it's absolutely so scrumptious. And my little workstation for the day. Well, it's been for the week, but hi guys. This is going to be laid back. And for the smart aleck who is like, I don't need you to tell me about Hulu from my last live, because I had the gall to chat with you guys for a little bit before we got started and they didn't appreciate it. This is for you. I can do what I want on my channel. This is laid back. We're going to chat. We're going to laugh. We're going to just be cool. So I don't know who decided that all of my videos have to be rigid and recorded and get straight to the point and stick only to the point, but apparently that's what some people think. So I guess I'm not allowed to just chat with you guys. So I'm purposefully just chatting with you guys because you know how I feel about being told what to do. So is this crazy? Oh, thank you, Ricardo. I'm operating for the. I don't think I've ever gone. Thank you so much. It's always. I don't think I've ever done a live from my little tablet. Yes. And I have my microphone plugged in, so my mouse is not working. So I'm just operating by. Yes, Gal. This is the chicken. This is the chicken butt channel. You must obey the chicken butt. Exactly. Exactly. And chicken butts are not always predictable. I know I started off that way with everything being recorded and immaculate and perfect, but not yes, chicken butt channel. Does South Korea do Halloween? I haven't seen any. I haven't seen anything, and I'm glad because I think I told you guys before. I think on a live with Omar, I hate Halloween. I hate when you go in the store and you're not paying attention and all of a sudden you move and something starts talking at you or screaming at you or its eyes start glowing. I spook too easily. I hate that stuff. So, but I haven't seen any here. I'm sure they probably do because there is quite a bit of a Western influence here. But thank you, Maya or Mia. I know it's usually pronounced Mia. I have a friend whose daughter is she has it pronounced Maya. So I always get mixed up, but I think it's usually Mia. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll be going home soon. I've been here for days. But yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it here. It's so safe and clean and nice. Yummy food. Only time of year you eat candy. Yeah, I love the candy sales. Stephen, can you get to the point? Who says that? People are so frustrating. Yeah, oh yeah, it was nasty. It was like, I don't need you to tell me about Hulu, because I started off talking about the Hulu series, the Murdaugh series. And apparently that was a crime. I'm afraid I might be being sued or maybe even subpoenaed again. I'm not sure which. So Chrissy asks, I'm on my phone, but what is your picture of? It's a picture of my room that I'm in right now, where I'm coming live from. It's all messy. It's got some dim sum, leftover dim sum, and a mango cake. Yes, no more subpoena. Except, did you guys see Popcorn Planet is still fighting his? He had a hearing. Well, your today, my yesterday. I think I'm from Eastern time, which is what I always use on here for some reason. Um, I think it's 13 hours different. So it's already noon here in your tomorrow. I hope Andy wins too. The reason she wants Andy so badly is because he did the documentary and he interviewed some of the crew. I don't know if there's cast, but I know there's crew. There's people who were on the set and witnessed things that he has interviewed for his documentary. And I think she wants to know who and what was said because it could affect her case if they say something. And the thing is, I saw a long time ago, I can't remember where I saw it, but there was a post on Reddit, and I saw it, I think on X a long time ago. I need to go back and find it. But it was somebody, and I think Zach Peter did. He talked about it in a video very early on, like when I first came to the story, that a person who was friends or related to a crew member put on there, and it was in 2023, put on there that this crew member said that Blake had threatened to go to the New York Times and say S harassment, and she used that in order to edit the movie. Now, like I said, this was 2023. So this was long before the whole thing happened in August 2024 where Stephanie Jones got Jennifer Abel's phone contents. It's long before Blake claimed that there was any kind of smear campaign. Someone from and it would have had to have been someone who was actually on the set who knew about this and posted it. Oh, hey, Michelle. Oh, I'm in your neighborhood now. You guys have yummy food. I love coming here. Oh, wait, what's this? I want to know what the crew said to, and me too. I've been waiting for that documentary, and now I guess we know why it hasn't been put out yet. But yeah, I think she wants to know who said what, and I feel really bad for those people that she might come after them. Oh, he did. Thank you, Christina. So Christina says Andy did a video telling people to tag ACLU to help him out. It was a video from today. I hope they do because they helped Perez. I had there was a really nice attorney that I met from New York that Mark Tinsley had suggested that I contact. And he didn't cover this kind of thing, but he put me in touch with a couple of attorneys. The first one was like, he wanted like $150,000 up front just to start. And then the second guy, a guy named Peter, super, super nice guy. And his was like way less than that. But in the end, I figured that a motion to quash would be enough. And then I thought, if the motion to quash doesn't work, then I will go ahead and hire an attorney. Plus, I knew an attorney wasn't going to say what I wanted to say, and I really wanted to say the things that I said. So I ended up being able to just do it myself. But not Peter, the first guy that Mark is friends with, such a nice guy. I mean, his name was Jeffrey, and we still chatted after a while, for a while after, but because he would check up on it and everything. Super nice guy. But he had mentioned ACLU. But at the time, I don't know if you guys remember, our subpoena said that it was due by the 16th. And I think it was July 16th. But then Google had given us till the 30th. And we weren't sure which date was going to be the date. And I was because, these people are not nice people. I could see them being tricky. And I didn't want to trust that 30th or 31st. I can't remember now. Man, it seems like years ago. It seems so long ago. But I didn't want to trust them, so I wanted to get it out as soon as possible. So I kept trying, and then my first 2 attempts he turned down because he wanted a name on there, which was ridiculous because that's what I was trying to defend was my anonymity, and he insisted that I put my name. It was so crazy. But Jeffrey had suggested the ACLU, but I was afraid I didn't have enough time to do all of that, so I just wrote that, the motion to quash, and she ended up dismissing the claim, so it worked out okay. But yes, they were definitely going to be what I went to if that didn't work. So, and they helped Perez, so hopefully they will help Andy as well. I agree with that. Gelf says Aussies are spoiled. Our candy is superior to American due to the ingredients. The same in Europe as well. There's a lot of ingredients that are just plain not allowed in other countries that are allowed in the States. But you can taste it. Like I don't eat American chocolate. I get all my chocolate when I'm traveling because the American one just tastes so waxy and way too sweet. Our stuff in the States is so sweet. And when you go to other countries, it's not as sweet, but the quality of the ingredients is higher, and so it tastes better. I don't like things that are super sweet. Andy's in talks with some big groups. I hope the ACLU takes it on. Yes, they are. Christina says what they're asking for is a lot. They want info through now from any, and then it looks like it cut off. But yes. From Andy, not any. Okay. Chrissy answered back, but don't Aussies love Vegemite and or make and then put a puke emoji. That stuff's nasty. I've tasted it. I don't understand. Don't understand it. There's a similar one that's Scottish. I forgot what it's called. Yeah, that stuff is not nice. How do you tag ACLU? I'm not sure. If anybody knows, go ahead and put that in comments. Jane is asking here. An Aussie here, another Aussie says Vegemite's the best. I think you have to grow up with it because yeah, no, I'd not for that. But it's like me here. When they bring out the fish sauce, I'm like, nope, do not put that in my bowl. Don't put it anywhere near my bowl. So I think it's just what you grow up with. I remember when I first went to China and there was no cheese in sight anywhere until I found a French place and a German place that sold it. And they sold it in these huge wheels. So like me and all of the foreigners I knew would split it up. One of them bought a scale and she would like cut it up and we would divide it. But yeah, the Chinese people that I knew that had never tasted it, when they tasted it, they were like, oh, they did not like it. But I think that was when I first got there, but more people, it's a lot more common in China now to eat cheese. There's Pizza Hut and all kinds of things. You love fish sauce. Yeah, I don't know fish sauce. I remember one time on MasterChef, the people got to choose their ingredients, and then he made them all switch. So they had another person's chosen ingredients, and there was that year, I think she ended up winning, if I remember correctly. It was a blind Chinese chef and she had picked out fish sauce, and the other person, oh, thank you, Ricardo. The other person that got it, she goes, "What is fish sauce, and why does it smell like death?" It's a kind of, they call it a sauce. It's more just liquidy, oily sort of substance that if you put a little bit in, it's not overwhelming. But if you smell it directly, or if it's like in a dipping sauce, it's like I don't know. It seems like kind of fermented fish. It's not a nice smell to me, but my husband likes it. It just depends. Tanya says, please cover the Karen Reed civil trial. I don't know. I don't like to do like the real, people get really, they're one side or the other on that, and they get really nasty. And Um, some friends of mine are really strong one way, and then I was really shocked when I came to this community, and a lot of people that I follow here are on the other side. And so I just, hey Jane, I just keep quiet about it because I know how controversial it is and how angry people get. So I've just tried to stay away from that one. Jane follows that. But yeah, I haven't covered it just because yeah, people get really really crazy about some of these things. And I just, you know what? I've learned to maintain my peace as much as I can. And if something is going to rob my peace in any way, shape, or form, I cut it out because, yeah, I mean, when you're on a mental wellness journey, that's what you have to do. You have to put up boundaries, and it's painful and it's hard, especially for someone like me. But that's what I've had to adapt. If it takes my peace in any way, I can't entertain it right now. So, yes, Jane says, "Stay away, Cassidy." Oh, I clicked on the wrong one. Yes, Jane is one of the ones who, like I said, some of my friends were posting about it originally, and then I found out it's so controversial, and so I'm like, nope, not getting involved in that one. Okay, sorry, I was reading a message here. I don't understand. Okay. Okay, sorry. All right. Yeah, a lot of people probably have had fish sauce without realizing. If you've eaten Asian food, it's in a lot of things. And if you just put a dash, it's delightful. But when it's in like the dipping sauce and overwhelming, ooh, nope, it's a little too pungent for me. All right. All right. Let's hope I wasted enough time to make people mad. And then I'll share the comment later. You guys can see what we have to put up with. It's so crazy. Like I said, it's like I hope you have someone in your life with that energy that follows you around and tells you when they don't like the way you do things. But it's because it's crazy to me how when you have a YouTube channel or an account on Instagram and you dare put an opinion or something that somebody doesn't like the anger and hatred in which people will feel entitled to come at you with for your opinion on your own space, just it's just mind-boggling. I mean I scroll through things and there are things that I see that I don't like, but I've never felt like I've got to go tell this YouTuber how much I hate their channel. Like never have I ever. I just, you know what I do? I don't even thumbs down. I click away and I go watch something that I do like. I might silently scream to myself, like when I'm looking up how to do something and I need right away, and then somebody wants to like talk forever. But that's when you're looking for instructions. And you know what? I just find someone else. That's what I do. I don't, yes, Christina, if I don't like it, I just move on. Just, are you telling someone to have a sip of the fish sauce? Joe says, I love fish sauce. Now I'm hungry. It's 4 a.m. here. Too late for dinner and too early for breakfast. Just have a sip. AC 35 says, just have a sip. All right. Gail, the only channel I've gone off on is As Two Lawyers. They deserve it. They went off on me. Oh, thank you, Daisy Jane. That's very sweet. You are very much respected, loved, and appreciated. Sewer dwellers like the Lyerleys will never be given. Thank you and stay well. Thank you. Oh yeah, in soups, AC uses fish sauce for soups for umami. Yeah, it's in pho, which is one of my absolute favorite things in the whole wide world. Who, the two lawyers? Christina says, okay, so I did say something to them after they were mean about Cassidy, but I got an apology. Wow, that's better than I got. Alrighty. Well, let's go ahead and get into this. So, we're not going to go through the answers. There's pages and pages of those. Those are a formality that has to be done. They have to address every single paragraph, and those are Stephanie Jones's accusations aimed at Jennifer Abel. So that's what those are. Those are all about. It's very, very long. It's not very interesting, and of course, it's all denials. The next part, I may do an episode just about the defenses because they're interesting in themselves, like what they're for, what they do, and even what they said in these. But there are quite a few. There are 31, in fact. So that's a lot. So I'm not going to go through those today, but I do like they are written well, and just to explain, I think I covered it before dealing with Blake's, and there's things like unclean hands and estoppel, and there's a lot of different things that do come up. Though that's a really good thing to try to understand. But I'm not going to go into that today. So then they go into like the jurisdiction, that sort of stuff. And then we get to the general allegations. We're not going to read a whole lot of that, but it does start here. And I thought it was funny that it began with the whole disarming Southern twang. That's all still in there. Most of that is all like the old stuff. It tells the history of how Jennifer Abel came to be working for Stephanie Jones, that she worked for someone else and then was, I don't know if she was headhunted. I don't remember all of the details, but it tells all of that process of how she came to be working. But I mentioned that because I think it's very hypocritical for Stephanie Jones to turn around and get angry that Jennifer Abel dared to leave her, because she kind of poached her from somebody else. So it's common in every industry. If someone is exceptionally good at their job, they get headhunted. And she did that with Jennifer Abel. And Jennifer Abel didn't just like use her as like a real quick stepping stone. I mean, she stuck around for, what was it, like 5 years? She was there for years. So maybe 3 years. I can't remember exactly. A lot of, like I said, this stuff feels like it was years ago now. But you can't expect someone's like eternal loyalty when they're just your employee, especially when your business is run. And this goes through, if you are not familiar with it, if you haven't read it or heard it anywhere, it's definitely worth going through and reading all of this. I covered it before, and I know Lauren did. She read through all of it, and it's a hilarious read. But because I've covered it before, I'm not going to go through it again. But it does go through like the allegedly cuckoo way that Stephanie was running her business. It sounds extremely unstable and very unhealthy, and a lot of people were fleeing this company. And it mentions how what Jennifer alleges is how Stephanie would contact her when she got upset, and that was getting progressively worse as time went on, that she said that she was becoming very paranoid, and that when people would leave, she would make social media accounts and kind of stalk them. And this one person had called off for a funeral, so she FaceTimed them to make sure they weren't just like out having a party day or something. So she FaceTimed this person in the middle of a funeral just to check up to make sure that that's really where the person was. Stuff like that. So if you haven't ever read that, definitely go through and read that. Or I recommend finding Lauren's old one where she read it, because it was hilarious. I remember it was late and I had already gone to lay down, and I think it was like during one of the times I couldn't do screens because I had one of those days-long migraines. That's what it was. But I really wanted to know what was going on. And I think it's when I found Lauren, she was reading it and she was cracking up. And I just fell in love with her laugh that night. But yeah, if you've never read it, you must know. Oh, did she? Jesse and Max says Mandy Magnan did a great breakdown of Stephanie Jones' work environment tonight. Okay, so yeah, I think the first time people hear about that, they really do have to make a video, because it's just, yes, Lauren has the best giggles. Yeah, migraines are so painful. They really are. And I get them for days. And it's the kind where if I move my head, I start vomiting. So I'm just like sitting there holding a bucket. It's really, really awful. And, but yeah, the first time anybody reads that, they usually make a live about it because they can't believe that they've just read that. But if you haven't read it, definitely go to someone who has covered it and listen to it, because it is insanity. Absolute insanity. So it's all deteriorating. And so Jennifer Abel decides that she's not just going to leave, but she's going to make her own business, because she's been working for other people for years. She worked for Stephanie for years, and then she worked prior to that somewhere else. She developed really good relationships with her clients. Her clients loved her. She was good at what she did. That's the next step, just like Stephanie did. I mean, Stephanie had her own business. It's so funny to me how these people forget that they did the same thing to someone at some point. They got work experience and then went off and made their own business. It's a goal a lot of people have. It should be celebrated. She poached other people from other companies to come work for her. You can't be upset when it happens to you. It's just the circle of life. But apparently it was more than she could take. So at the same time that all of this is happening with the employees, it's also happening with the actual clients. So she had some really big clients and she started losing them because of this alleged whacked out behavior. And so someone made a couple of websites. There's the Stephanie Jones leaks, and there's this article that gets put out in Business Insider called "Who's Afraid of Stephanie Jones?" And it starts spilling the behind the scenes. Oh my gosh, this milk jug gets so much mileage. I love it. It was just me messing up the words to the song. Steph K. Bella says Stephanie was jealous of Jen's milk jugs. So this is going on. So she's bleeding employees. Clients are leaving, and then she's got this website. She's got this big article in Business Insider, and it's all like coming down on her hard. So she wants to know who's posting this, who's saying this. And because it happened to be at the very time that Jennifer Abel was exiting her company, Jennifer Abel gets blamed for this. Now, surprise of surprises, Stephanie Jones sent out subpoenas as well and was fighting to uncover the makers of these websites and stuff. And she got some of it approved. So she should have the proof by now that it wasn't, in fact, Jennifer Abel. But it seems like it wasn't. And let me see. I've got to read this on my phone because the screen on my tablet is just too small. Let me get to the part where it's new stuff. All right, here we go. We're going to start with where they take Jennifer's phone. So I'm going to start with paragraph 53. If you're following along, I'm sorry, I wasn't able to cut this all and zoom in on it. I just uploaded it onto there. So paragraph 53 says, on or about July 10th, 2024, Abel notified Jones of her departure from Jones Works. Abel later confirmed her decision on July 26, 2024, and communicated her intention to start her own business. Abel offered a 6-week transition period ending on August 23, 2024, which Jones Works accepted. That's a long transition period. She was being super, super nice by doing that. A lot of people like 2 weeks, some even less, but she gave her 6 weeks. That was really, really generous of her. On August 7th, 2024, Abel contacted Jones' chief of staff, Gordon Duran, to coordinate the release of her phone number, as Jones had promised when Abel had first joined Jones' work several years before. Duran agreed, stating, and we have a redaction here. And if you don't know, but I'm sure you all know by now, she used a company work phone, but she moved her personal phone number to that phone and went down to just using one phone rather than keeping her personal phone and just keeping work stuff to work stuff. But she had had the phone number since she was in high school, so she wanted to keep it. So the agreement was, I'm going to load my number to this, and when and if I leave, I get my phone number back. So that's where all the trouble started, that she moved her personal phone number to this work phone and it was left on it, which I'm sure if she had finished out her time there, she would have gotten everything cleaned off, and then everything would have been fine. But because she got cornered 2 days before, she hadn't had a chance to do any of that yet, which is, I'm sure, the reason why it was done 2 days before, so that she could catch her by surprise and catch her with all of her personal stuff still on that phone. So the whole thing was completely premeditated. Oh, Anyang Haseo. You're studying Korean. Cool. Okay. Now let me skip down to some of it. They've learned more stuff. So in early August, Jones directed Duran to investigate how to gain access to Abel's text messages and call history on her telephone from Jones' Works provider, Verizon. Duran was only able to obtain Abel's call and text logs for the prior 6 months. I think this is new. Am I mistaken? I don't remember seeing this. It feels like this is something they may have gotten through depositions somehow. So that's the delightful thing about this, is that we've got some updates. So before the takeover, she had already looked into this. She was already snooping. But call logs, it's different than what she ends up doing. Then, 58, Jones instructed Duran to make sure that Abel could not port her phone number away from the Jones Works plan without Jones Works permission. So she was making sure that that phone was going to be stuck, that when she wanted to grab it, that Jennifer could not have taken her things off. "59, by mid-August 2024, Jones had hatched a plan to seize Abel's phone outright. She sent Duran to California on August 19th, 2024, and set the plan in motion." I don't think I'd caught that before either, that he was not even from California. He's from the New York office, it seems like. He flew out there for this. This is really, really bad, because if these do come out to be crimes, and I've been doing, I haven't been able to air my episodes, but I've been working behind the scenes, and I did all kinds of research on these criminal laws, and I found even more about the one that I already covered. But this is like premeditation if these do ever go to criminal charges. So 60, on August 21st, 2024, 2 days before Abel's last scheduled day of employment, Duran, a security guard, a forensic data technician employed by Edgeworth Security Services, and an attorney with Frankfurt, blah, 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 confronted Abel at Jones Works Beverly Hills office to terminate her Jones Work employment early. Jones had insisted on a security presence so they could, dun, dun, it's redacted. Please put this back. Yes, the physical phone. So this is, and then Duran later testified. So this is information from his deposition, which is so exciting. I wish it wasn't redacted. 62, during the August 21st meeting, Duran, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, demanded that Abel hand over her phone and provide her passcode. In a ruse to induce Abel's compliance, Duran falsely claimed that JonesWorks needed the passcode to facilitate the release of the phone number and reset the phone. Believing Duran's representations and intimidated by the presence of a large security guard, an attorney, and a forensic data technician, Abel complied with the demands. Abel did not consent to, and was not asked to consent to, a search of the iPhone's contents. Abel had no reason to believe JonesWorks would attempt to access her personal data, or she would not have turned the device over, making prior arrangements to secure it. Abel sought and received express confirmation from Duran and the JonesWorks attorney. These lying attorneys, I'm so sick of it. Oh, I forgot to advance your page. Sorry. Where was I? That her phone number would be released immediately thereafter. After handing her iPhone to the JonesWorks attorney, Abel was escorted out of the office by the security guard. Abel went directly to a nearby Verizon store. We've read about this. That Duran had told her that they would release it. So she goes and she waits 4 hours and they don't release it. I'm going to skip some of this that I've already said. So yeah, they've added information saying that believing that she still had 2 days, that she hadn't taken any steps to remove her personal data. And so it was fully loaded and logged into all of her accounts. It was registered to her iCloud, contained all of her photos, text messages, and emails. By refusing to release Abel's phone number, because remember, the judge had dismissed all of this. One of them was dismissed with prejudice, so they're not able to combat that. But this is all about combating the ones that were dismissed without prejudice. So what they were lacking in the judge's mind, he says that they were conclusory, which means you jumped to a conclusion at the end. You didn't show how you got there. It calls for more facts. I disagree with him actually on a lot of what he said. Conclusory is something like this. If the complaint says she was negligent, that's a conclusion because you have to prove negligence by facts. But when someone says something, here's the best way to explain conclusory. How you make something not conclusory is you include the who, what, when, why. Well, why is not as important, but how. When you have those things in there, it's not conclusory anymore. And a judge is supposed to read a motion to dismiss as if everything in it is true. It's not supposed to have facts. That comes later, and the facts are for the jury to decide. He is just supposed to say, are these pleadings plausible? And the only reason one of the reasons for saying that they don't pass is by saying they are conclusory. So you make a statement, but your pleading doesn't really support that. But when he said she continued to access Jennifer Abel's phone up until January and got into her iCloud, that's the who, that's the what, that's the how, that's the when. So I disagree with him. I mean, it is threadbare, but it is not conclusory. So the one that I'm working on, I've got this written but not recorded, and I was going to do it last night, but I'm in a different time zone and it got too sleepy to stay awake till it was a decent time to go live for you guys. So I didn't do it, but this one's all written and waiting because and I wanted to do it before this amendment came in because it's kind of covering it, but this is him, I feel like, because he went through hoops in order to go against Wayfair. In this case, this isn't even about Blake. This is between Jones and Abel. And still, he jumped through hoops to try to say that Jennifer Abel's claims were not sufficient. And he was wrong, I feel like. It was not conclusory. He could have said threadbare. He could have said, give me some more details to support your claim. But that's not what he said. He said it was conclusory. It's not when it has the who, what, when, how. So yeah, don't agree with that. But so that's what they're doing with, that's the whole point of this amendment, is that he's coming back, they're coming back to this is more content to show our pleadings are accurate. Because he was also wrong about the iCloud. The whole purpose of iCloud, well, it's two things. It's to make your stuff accessible from all of your devices. So if things are simply stored on your phone, that means you can't get it off your iPad, you can't get it off your tablet. It only exists on your phone. But the iCloud makes it accessible to everything, because where is it? In the cloud. If it was on your phone, you couldn't access it from anywhere else. The second thing it does is it frees up the storage on your phone. So it only stores your most recent messages or your most recent whatever, and the rest of it is on your cloud. That's the whole purpose of it. And he completely misunderstood the purpose of an iCloud. And he basically called Jennifer Abel a liar by saying that her statements contradicted, and by saying that from her own admission, which wasn't true, that this stuff was stored on her phone, that everything Blake used was stored on her phone. That is not true. The other part is, I'm sure forensic analysts can tell you exactly when your iCloud gets logged into and from where, which would be absolute proof that Stephanie was doing it. But that's all stuff for the jury. That's not motion to dismiss stuff. He shouldn't have to show all of his strategy and all of his evidence right now. That's unfair, actually, to demand that of him. All that he has to prove is the Iqbal Twombly standard of the pleadings are plausible. But here we are, because this. Okay. Now, one of the things she has to prove is damages. He did not seem to think her damages were worth anything. But that's not what these laws, this statute is that's not what it says. The other thing I came across, well, no, let me not get into that. I'll save it for that episode. So 67, by refusing to release Abel's phone number, Jones Works usurped Abel's digital identity and cut off her access to critical accounts protected by two-factor authentication. He said that in the claim. That wasn't good enough for the judge. That is not conclusory at all. As a result, Abel lost access to bank accounts, utilities, insurance, and virtually every other sensitive account. That's exactly what this law is set up for. When you're denied access to your accounts or to your data, and I already showed that with the U.S. Supreme Court case just a few episodes ago. And that counted as damage. In effect, Jones had orchestrated a wholesale theft of Abel's phone number and personal data. It took months of endless phone calls and in-person visits for Abel to regain access to her checking and savings accounts. That is ridiculous, to be cut off from your bank. Credit cards, investment and retirement accounts, as well as her internet, gas, and electricity accounts. How is that not damages? And he just completely minimized this. In fact, Abel still does not have access to her Empower 401k account. She also lost 20 years of contacts, including those of her old friends, former clients, and colleagues and extended family. Because think about it, we don't memorize addresses. We don't have, remember those antiques, those little address books people used to have? I remember seeing them by my grandma's phone. It was a little book, and it had the ABCs in tabs, and you wrote down the phone numbers of everybody you needed to keep track of. People don't do that anymore because it's in our phones. And so, I mean, I think there's probably 3 or 4 people I could dial up without my phone. I mean, you're basically pretty well screwed if you lose your phone as far as getting access to people's numbers. Sorry, I'm catching up with the chat. I've been ignoring it. So, yes, me too, Lisa. She says, I want to see Blake's texts with Jones, Leslie, Sloan, Ryan, and Taylor. Those will show she lied and was the one defaming, where'd it go? Defaming Justin and Wayfair. Yes, I agree. Yes, that was my husband snoring. Don't fall asleep, you're too loud. Sorry about that, guys. Abel had to reset all her airline loyalty, rideshare, and food delivery accounts. And for each social media account, Abel had to go through an arduous identity verification process. In short, it was a nightmare. Yes, Jane. See? Could you imagine if someone did this to Lyman's phone? Exactly. That's how it drives me crazy how people are so nonchalant about what happened to her. And the people who say that they're supportive of Blake because they support women burn me to an absolute crisp. Because why do they never say anything about what happened to Jennifer Abel? They should be furious about that, about what happened to her. And when I get through this, we're going to talk about Jamie Heath's wife, because, oh my goodness, that is infuriating. And where's all their anger about that? Where's all their anger about that? So we'll get that to the end, because if I start talking on that, we're going to get really derailed. By contrast, Jones gained unrestricted access to everything stored on Abel's phone, her text messages, emails, and personal photos. Jones could read her communication with her fiancé. That is so invasive. Parents, friends, everyone, to ensure she would retain Abel's data under any eventuality. Dun, dun. Now, these redactions, unlike Blake's silly redactions that are put there to make us think there's something really big there, and then when they get unsealed, we find out they're stupid. These are huge, I bet. This is going to say something that Stephanie did that we haven't heard of yet. Mark my words. Paragraph 68, when we ever get this unsealed, mark my words, this is going to be huge. Something very, very evil that Stephanie did, because it says to ensure she would retain this data under any eventuality. So somehow she did something to be able to continue to access her stuff. The next day, using her new phone number, Abel begged Duran and Jones to relent. And we have a text message. Steph Gordon, this is Jen Abel, my new cell. I'm writing you both as a personal plea to please release my cell phone number. Imagine all of the ways she could have been nasty at this point. And this is what kills me. All of these people on the Wayfarer side are the gentlest, kindest people. And the other side are the nastiest people. Look at the way she pleads for this. Pleads for this. This is the same number I've had since high school. This isn't a work-related thing. This is my personal number that is linked to all of my bills, my medical, Chris's dad's living facility, all of my personal emails and accounts due to two-factor oh my goodness, authentication. I cannot access anything. Now, a normal person would feel absolutely horrible about this, right? Not Stephanie Jones, not Gordon. They probably had a laugh about it because this is about the time that Stephanie was showing pictures and stuff and text messages to colleagues. Gordon, you wrote me numerous times you were going to release this, and then when Verizon was calling you during the 4 hours I was there yesterday, you never picked up. They said you never even started the process after you told me you did. The lawyer I was ambushed with yesterday even said this was fine to do. I've been nothing but good to you. I've been nothing but good to you both, but this is just mean and egregious, and I'm begging you to please release it before I travel tomorrow. Please. You have no use for a 904 number that has been my personal number before you took on the billing. It takes one phone call. Please. And then she's got the praying hand emojis. I mean, come on. This is the sweetest plea. And they just ignore it. After usurping control of Abel's private communications, Jones began exploiting them to harm Abel further. Specifically, Jones scoured Abel's text messages to find instances where Abel had privately been critical of or gossiped about any former JonesWorks colleagues and shared them with those individuals and others. As a result, Abel saw long-term professional and personal relationships fracture. And then we have these texts. These were in there before, where she's talking with her colleagues, and they're mad at her because Stephanie has shared stuff to turn them against her. Number 72, and this is something that I've assumed might have been there, and said, this is just this awful. Oh, sorry, I'm not keeping up because I'm reading this off my phone. I'm going to close the curtain because I've got a really bad glare on my screen. Hold on. Oh, my chair poofed when I sat on it. Okay. Let's see. Among the communications reviewed, discussed, and disseminated by Jones and her cohorts were highly intimate messages between Abel and her friends about their sex lives. And then there's some redaction. Isn't that sickening? This exchange, along with many others of a similar personal nature, are no longer in the exclusive possession, custody, and control of Abel and those she intended to communicate with, as they should have remained. Instead, they were widely distributed by Jones to her team, to Lively, to the press, and to the untold others, and ultimately bait-stamped and captured for posterity in this and the related litigation. That is so sickening. 73. Also stolen by Jones were Abel's communications with her long-term partner and fiancé, as well as her parents. These include discussions between Abel and her fiancé about Abel's fertility, and between Abel and her parents about her mother's serious health challenges. These are sacred health things. These are protected. Some of these messages, which Abel does not even have due to the theft of her phone number, were produced by JonesWorks in this litigation. Reams of other sensitive messages were excluded from JonesWorks document production, but clearly are, or at least were, in Jones' possession. This cannot be reasonably disputed, given that Jones directed her digital forensics team to copy Abel's phone in its entirety, which they did. So now like I said, we've got more information in these, and we can see that this was done. She did not just stick to work messages, which is what people defending them tried to claim. Oh, it's company stuff, it's business stuff. She had a right to do this. No, she scraped the entire phone. That's not okay. Yes, this is the standard. Lisa says, I used to work in HR and had a personal phone and did work on it. When I left, IT came to my desk and removed the work stuff. That was standard at my place of employment when people left. That's completely understandable. But all of this, yes, it is, Eliza. Oh, sorry about the wrong one. Yes, it is, Eliza. Oh my goodness, this is heartbreaking. And I've always, from the moment I found that she scraped her phone or had gotten access to her phone, this is what I always said. Private conversations between her and her fiance, medicals, all this kind of stuff. And nobody feels bad for Jennifer Abel, who did absolutely nothing wrong. She did her job as a PR person. That's all she did. So all these women claiming they support women are liars, because if they were really supporting women, they would be infuriated about what happened to her. But they got to make excuses. They always got to make excuses for Blake, even if it means defending Leslie Sloan and Stephanie Jones, because they're all on the same team, and everybody on Wayfair has to be the devil. Based on the evidence thus far in this case, forensic stuff, they can find a lot when they analyze these things. So these claims better not be dismissed. Where did I leave off? Based on the evidence thus far in this case, Jones closely, even maniacally, inspected these materials. If she kept going back in and looking at them and going back in and looking at them, it's all going to be logged. In so doing, Jones attained unvarnished visibility into the most sensitive and private aspects of Abel's life: her fertility struggles, her fiancé's father's neurological decline, and her financial situation. Jones also obtained all of Abel's personal photos. Oh, that makes me so angry. That makes me so angry. Which run the gamut in subject matter, but were almost invariably not intended for the consumption of Jones, Lively, or any other hostile actors. Imagine the people, Blake and Ryan, having access to your private, all of that stuff. Can you imagine? Not only did Jones steal communications of a personal nature, but she also stole privileged communications between Abel and Jessup regarding Abel's new business. Jones did so knowing full well that Jessup was Abel's attorney. And then we have more redactions that are probably also another really big deal. In sum, Abel was subjected to a boundless and disgraceful invasion of her privacy by Jones and Jones Works. She has been left aghast, humiliated, and terrified. What happened to Jennifer Abel, even if Blake's claims were true, which I don't think any of us believe they are, her claims are nothing compared to this. This is an invasion. Having torched Abel's privacy and dignity, you would feel like that. Jones started boasting internally that Abel's business would not last long. Yeah, because she knew she turned stuff over to Blake and was using Blake as her puppet to score the revenge against her that she couldn't do herself. For almost 4 years, Abel largely managed Jones Works' work for Wayfair Studios and Justin Baldoni out of its Los Angeles office. And then we kind of covered that before, that they um, had a close relationship, that she was their point person. So we're going to do some skipping. They were bleeding clients. There was a massive PR crisis with Wayfair, but Stephanie was, I remember she was away. I think she was in Europe, and all of these other stars were leaving her company. And so Wayfair ends up asking Jennifer for a crisis management specialist, and she recommends Melissa Nathan. So that's how that came about. And then we know that that Melissa Nathan is the one who recommended Jed Wallace ultimately. All right, then they start to find out, because behind the scenes people talk. There are PR people that are talking regularly to people in newspapers, whether mostly online nowadays. But they shop around stories, and then places will decide whether or not they want to print the story that's been shopped to them. So, if I remember correctly, Jennifer's sister was in the reporter side, and so she would hear things too. So there's stories being shopped around, and this comes back to Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Abel, that they're talking about branding Baldoni's religion as a cult. They're accusing him of fat shaming Blake. That whole thing about the weight question, which was so ridiculous. I think if any of us have a bad back and we have to do a lift scene, and we got to prepare for it. We want to be ready for it. That's not fat shaming. Then let's see, skipping down to the more important things. Okay, we're going to skip to 85 now. Notwithstanding Jones' general disengagement, it is not true that she was kept in the dark. To the extent she was out of the loop, it was by choice. Jones was copied on virtually all communications during this period and was privy to Wayfair's predicament and its chosen strategy of non-confrontation. And we read that before. They even had to tell Stephanie to stop because they had asked, they were just observing, they were monitoring at the time. And Stephanie goes ahead and she's like, I'm going to use my contacts, and contacts someone, I think it was from the Daily Mail, and to get the story out. And it ends up being awful. It backfires. Leslie finds out about it. She gets furious. It makes everything worse. And they basically tell Stephanie Jones, we're going to keep paying you. Now just go sit on your hands and we're going to pay you to stop doing things. And then it says, had there been a smear campaign, as was later alleged by her and the lively parties, Jones would have undoubtedly known about it in real time. Another redaction. Admitted Jones in an email on August 21st, 2024. So they have proof that Stephanie Jones was not blocked out, that she was being kept informed about everything that was going on. And then here's the part about the truce and Jones reinserting herself, and it was the Daily Mail. And that is actually Stephanie Jones' actions that began the whole series of unfortunate events. By her going and blabbing to her source, it's what blew everything up. Because then Sloan finds out that someone from Baldoni's team had been communicating negatively to the media. And then Melissa Nathan finds out. Maybe it's Melissa Nathan. It's Melissa Nathan's sister. I think I said Jennifer Abel's sister. Melissa Nathan's sister is the one on the reporter side of things. So they find out that Powder Bear is planting negative stories about Justin. So they had this truce. They're like, okay, we won't. Neither of us will say anything for the good of the movie. We'll just both keep quiet. But that's a narcissist tool, and I've had that happen to me before. That's just to keep you quiet so that they can get their story out there first. And that's what they did. Leslie was out there planning stories. I'm skipping down again because this is kind of long. So when 94, I'm just going to skim. So when Stephanie finds out that Wayfair is leaving, instead of being normal, she just starts threatening to sue. She starts demanding money. It just gets really, really, really ugly. And then it mentions that Jones discloses some communications to the Lively parties the very first day she gets it, August 21st. And we know that because Leslie Sloan contacts Melissa Nathan and tells her that she's seen the messages and that they're going to be sued. All right, now there's going to be some juicy stuff under these redactions. 97, on or about August 24th, 2024, Jones took things oh, sorry, I forgot to advance you guys. On or about August 24, 2024, Jones took things a step further and attempted to contact Lively directly through a mutual connection. Something big happened here. A few days later, Jones reached out again to, we don't know, but this is big stuff, guys. Then connected Jones and Lively directly. Here it is, right here. Stephanie Jones and Blake Lively were in direct contact about this. This brings malice back into the picture. In advance of the call, something else big, reeling from a storm of negative publicity, Lively instructed, here we go. Looks like malice, doesn't it? This is exciting. And it's all these redacted. So there's a motion to seal this. This may become unredacted if, depending on how Blake reacts. So Blake can either move to keep it sealed or to unseal it. So I think it only lasts like a week. So we might have this unredacted within a week, or she's going to have to show cause for why to keep it sealed. Okay, Lively and Jones spoke by phone approximately a week later, and more happens. Redacted again. A few days later, Lively followed up with, so these two were in some serious communication. Now, this is probably stuff they've been able to put on here now because they got access to the text messages. So they should have the content of these conversations, and they've had the depositions. So if there were phone conversations, they should have had to release what they talked about. And hopefully they had to tell on themselves. However, it is not well known that Jones transmitted the contents of Abel's iPhone to Lively. Oh, I'm sorry. It is now well known that Jones transmitted the contents of Abel's iPhone to Lively, who in turn disseminated them more widely, including to the New York Times. Again, if these come through criminal, we have part of malice is this premeditated business. If they have evidence that they were plotting, forget it. That's a done deal. I really, really hope this goes criminal. While the contents of Abel's communications do not support the existence of an untraceable smear campaign, they do show that by the time of the film's premiere, Abel and others in Wayfarer's circle held Lively in deep disdain. What a nice way to say it. Deep disdain. I deeply disdain you, Blake. Oh, I'm drinking guava juice. It is so, so yummy. All right, where do we go here? And vented acerbically. They talk trash, okay? Amongst themselves, and they had every right to. These sentiments were the natural result of the Wayfarer party's firsthand knowledge of Lively's vicious behavior. Sorry. It's so prim and proper to put this. It is hilarious to me. Firsthand knowledge of Lively's vicious behavior and malignant persona and the high-stress situation in which they found themselves. In turning over these materials to Lively, Jones knew full well how they would be used, with slicing, dicing, cherry-picking, messaging, and in some cases, outright alteration. The Lively parties exploited Abel's text messages to great effect. Joining forces with the New York Times, the Lively parties commissioned the hit. However, for different reasons, the Lively parties on the one hand and Jones Works on the other hand needed to create a veneer of legitimacy. The Lively parties likely anticipated or were told directly that the New York Times would not traffic in stolen communications under these circumstances and needed the color of law. Jones and Jones Works, for their part, wanted to insulate themselves from legal exposure to Wayfarer for breaches of confidentiality. Accordingly, on September 27, 2024, working hand in glove with Jones and Jones Works, the Lively parties and their counsel at Manat, Phelps, and Phillips initiated a sham legal proceeding in New York State Court. That's the legendary Van Zandt. So, doesn't it look to you guys like they found out that she shared this with Blake long before Van Zandt sham? Because that's what it looks like to me. Yeah, I agree, Tina. Tina says, I keep saying the longer this case drags on, the closer the Lively parties get to felony charges. Yep. And let it be so. I really, really hope for it. Because if convicted of these things as they stand now, as the possible criminal charges, if those do get acted upon, we have federal and state. And when you go to court, that's two separate trials because they're not tried together. Federal has their own and state has their own. So you have two separate trials, and if convicted, you have two separate, if it goes to prison sentences. Now, they often run concurrently, which means at the same time instead of consecutively. But if one is longer than the other, you can end up spending time in both prisons. You can go to federal prison and state prison. And trust me, you do not want to go to state prison. Well, you don't want to go to prison anyway, but federal prison has better, it has a lot more like white collar crime. It has better facilities, better food, better canteen, better beds to lay on. If you go to state prison, you're in with murders and rapists and all of the really, really yucky, scary people. And I don't know if you've ever seen the difference in like the beds. The beds are like horrifying in state prison. Probably a little better for women. I've really only seen the men's ones. But they could end up in both places. And if Blake accepted this knowing how it was obtained and had this in her possession, that does not look good for her. But it really, really looks bad for Stephanie. And now we know They had it before the Van Zandt sham subpoena. Okay, now let's talk about Van Zandt a little bit more. The sham lawsuit was nothing more than a transparent ploy to obtain subpoena power. And I just came across a case for this this jumping through hoops thing. It's funny, it started in New York and ended up in California, and they had an attorney do a sham subpoena, and she ended up with sanctions and yeah, it was a big deal. It was not taken lightly. It ended up having its own hearing and all of this stuff. It was a big deal. So this people saying that this is not a big deal, that this is okay, that this is done all the time. No, it's not. It is abuse of process. The plaintiff is a corporate entity affiliated with Lively and Reynolds and entirely unrelated to the film or the Wayfarer parties. The lawsuit asserted three causes of action: breach of contract, breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, and faithless servant against Doe defendants only. It does not explain how or why Van Zandt was unable to identify the proper defendants, which is especially notable in the context of a breach of contract action. How do you have a contract with someone and you don't know who they are? Instead, Van Zandt, I love how they just go Lively and Reynolds, and Manette implausibly claim not to be, sorry, I forgot to advance your page. Implausibly claim not to be privy to the identities of its own contractual counterparties or its own employees, contractors, agents, or representatives. The lawsuit is devoid of specific allegations against anyone, much less Abel, and relies exclusively on boilerplate legal jargon. Boilerplate is just like wide range, not specific. Judges hate it. Notably, Van Zandt never requested the assignment of a judge, substituted the Doe defendants for named parties, which you're supposed to do. You're supposed to start off, find out who they are, and then substitute party names, or served the complaint on any defendant. The only docket entries are the complaint and a notice of dismissal filed on December 19th, 2024. The same day the lawsuit was filed, September 27th, 2024, Jones warned a departing employee not to work for Abel because her business wouldn't be around much longer. Malice. Once the lawsuit was filed, the Lively parties used it to issue a subpoena to Jones Works for data stored on Abel's phone, including troves of private emails and text messages picked up via the application of highly generic search terms. The information turned over to Lively included communications that were plainly protected by attorney-client privilege. Since there was no identifiable parties and no party had been served, the subpoenas were issued without notice, depriving Abel of any knowledge of the subpoena, much less the opportunity to object. Hold on just a second. Oh, I was. I pushed the button, but it didn't register. Oh my goodness. So I've been talking to myself for a long time. Oh no, I did an Omar. I did an Omar. Oh my goodness. What was the last thing I said? Oh, I think I did some of my best work while I was muted. I muted to clear my throat and I stayed muted. I don't know for how long. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. Oh, oh, yeah, my milk jugs, they were full. Okay, Bella. The last thing I said is that I was stepping away. Okay. Oh, I'm glad you guys were entertaining yourselves, talking amongst yourselves. I'm so sorry. So, where did I leave off on the document? I don't even remember. I saw somebody said, "Cassidy changed the page." Does she not know she's Yeah, I muted it just to clear my throat and take a sip because I hate to do that on Oh, goodness sakes. I'm so sorry, guys. I was talking about Van Zandt, right? The nice thing is you missed hearing my husband snore again. Oh, goodness, guys. I'm so sorry. I don't know where the previous page. Oh, how you wanted it to be criminal. Okay. Oh, yeah, when I was talking about prison, did did that all register when I was talking about prison? Jason says your muting allowed me to catch up. Good. You were talking about Blake Venus. Okay, good. So you heard the prison part, right? That if criminal charges are filed, they could end up in both federal and state prison depending on Okay, good. Okay, so it wasn't that far back. Okay. So then it finishes with the Van Zandt, but the main thing about Van Zandt that we learned is that she did in fact share the information with Blake even before Van Zandt, which I think we all assumed. And then, oh, good. We were all getting to be better friends while you were away. I have the best group comes here. You guys are amazing. It's okay to sip your mango juice online. Somebody got mad at Lauren for drinking water. Well, I know, and I'm because I'm one of those people, like mouth sounds are really awful. I have a hard time listening to my lives. When I do recordings, I go through and like try to get out every mouth sound I can because I just can't take it. But lives, you can't control that. So I know not everybody is a freak like me, but ACC says I prefer for any sips to be audible. I know not everybody's a freak like me, but for any of those out there who might be, I do it for you. But unfortunately, I muted myself in the process. I'm not used to this mic. I haven't used in a very very long time. It's like my I take it with me when I travel because the one I have at home is like on an arm and it's attached to a box that has to be attached to the PC. So it's Jason says I also hate mouth sounds. Yeah, it's very very real. It's called misophonia, something like that. Like if it's someone I don't know and they like keep sniffing or God forbid snort, I really think a snort like is grounds for self-defense. Like if I ever hit someone for snorting, I feel like it's in self-defense because I feel like a snort one day is going to actually kill me. So but I know it's my bizarre neurodivergent thing. Not everybody's like that. But for my fellow My fellow neurospices, I do it for you. Okay. So yes, Van Zandt, it's a sham. She gave this stuff to Blake, then did the Van Zandt sham, and then gave the stuff to her again to try to make it look legit. But they have uncovered it. They know the truth. So I'm really hoping, what I'm really hoping is that there is another lawsuit coming that's aimed specifically at Van Zandt, because this was the disappointing bit. We get to the causes of action, and the causes of action are fewer in number. They have let go the ones that the judge dismissed, even the ones he dismissed without prejudice that they could have corrected in some way and brought them back to the court. But they're like, no thanks. So it's funny to me that oh, sorry, distracted by the chat. ACC says Sandra Bullock snorts when she. A reporter asked her once if she was trying to be funny by doing that, and she very seriously said no. That's how she laughs. Yeah, a laugh snort's different. I'm talking about. Oh, and I'm gonna gag. I'm talking about the juicy ones. No, I have literally vomited. Yeah, and if someone I love does it, like near me, it's in because I can't rage at them like I can rage at a stranger. It turns to immediate tears. Like I'm talking just like flowing down my cheeks because I love them, so I can't rage at them, but it hurts my soul so deeply to hear. I feel absolutely trapped. But Christy's going to bed. Oh, good night, chicken butt. She says, I'm so tired and can't keep my eyes open. Cass, your voice is so soothing. I'm putting everybody to sleep. Yes, misophonia, that's what it is. Good night, Christy. Happy chicken butt dreams. So they could have corrected them and they didn't. They didn't even try. So I think there's something bigger coming with Van Zandt. The abuse of process claim, or even an altogether separate lawsuit. But I think there I can't imagine a world where they describe all of this harm and then just let it go. I really can't. So they do have these surviving claims, but I don't know why they've well, maybe the California one. I'd have to look again. I don't have all of my files with me, of course, because I'm traveling and I do everything on paper. So like this is killing me not to have my paper. But maybe the penal code might have been one he dismissed without prejudice. So they had to have tried something else. But yeah, they didn't bring the three federal ones, which is a big surprise to me. So hopefully there's something bigger planned. I just really think that there is. So what's now their first cause of action is the California state. This is a crime in California. This would be possible prison time in a state prison. It is Abel hereby incorporates each and every allegation set forth. Jones Works violated the provisions of the California Penal Code 502C by doing the following acts: knowingly accessing and without permission obtaining, altering, disseminating, or otherwise using Abel's data, computer system, and computer network in order to devise and execute a scheme and artifice to defraud and deceive and wrongfully control and obtain property and data, knowingly and without permission, accessing and causing to be accessed, taking and causing to be taken, copying and causing to be copied, using and causing to be used, computer services, namely Abel's personal Gmail account, the email account maintained by Abel's business, RWA Communications, and Abel's iCloud data, including her text messages and photos. All right. Then the second one is conversion. So it talks about her phone number. What they should have blacked that out. Her possessory interest in this phone. Maybe she doesn't have it anymore. But Abel did not consent to this conversion of the phone number and suffered harm with Jones and Jones Works conduct. As a direct and proximate result of said conduct, Abel has suffered damages in the amount to be proven at trial. Jones and Jones Works engaged in the above alleged conduct with oppression, fraud, and malice, and so they ask for punitive and exemplary damages. Then there's promissory fraud. There's not a whole lot of information, but they do list more information about all of the things that she was not able to get into. And it was like her banking, her retirement, her Microsoft and Gmail, her utilities. This is really sick. Her patient portal with medical care and prescription drugs, which means that Stephanie probably could have accessed this stuff. Her rideshare, her food delivery, her airline accounts, her social media accounts. And then it relists some of the stuff, the trouble that it caused her. And that's it. That's all they left on here. So my hope is that there is a big old abusive process claim coming, or even a secondary lawsuit based on the Van Zandt sham and criminal charges. Bring on the criminal charges. So real quick before I go, I've been on here longer than I expected to be, but did you guys see the thing about Jamie Heath's wife in the birth video? I am so mad about that because, first of all, Blake claims she glanced at it for like a second, thought it was porn, and then looked away and like, don't show me that. And that's all she saw of it, okay? However, now, this late in the game, so long, I mean, tell me your case stinks without telling me your case stinks. She is so desperate right now because she doesn't have a case. So what she's trying to do is to take away all of the evidence out of Wayfair's hands. So she already did the one, and you remember her last sanctions motion, which was number 7. Now we're on number 8. But she asked for monetary things and a statement to be made to the jury, and for Wayfair not to be able to defend themselves. Do you guys remember that? It was absolutely ludicrous, the ask. Now she's asked for the same situation again about this. So she's saying, based on her in her own description, her like 1 second glance at a video, now all this time later, she said all this time to discuss it, but all this time later, she's saying, oh, that's not the video that he showed me. How long has this video been available? And Jamie and Natasha both posted on their own Instagram so that we've all gotten to see it. And all this time later, now she's saying, oh, that's not what I saw. And so she's saying, oh, there must be something else. Well, in depositions, I'm sure they're twisting it into something that it's not. They're saying, oh, well, Jamie admitted during deposition that there is another video. That very well could be, because people often, they may video the entire birth, but they don't want to show that to everybody. So they make one to share that doesn't have all the other stuff in it, right? That they don't want public, or, to even share with friends and loved ones. Because, hey, look, here's my, but now she's heard about this other video So now she's like, well, that other video must be what he showed me, because what he showed me isn't what, or what he submitted to the court isn't what he showed me. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the whole point of it is not even about, to me, what I don't believe it's about bringing another video to the court. I don't believe it's about that at all. I believe it's about the sanctions. And part of the sanctions is, once again, asking this judge to tell the jury, or to say that Jamie Heath cannot defend himself in any way, shape, or form about this birth video that he showed. And it's absolutely ridiculous. She's asking this court to take her word for things that she can't prove, and don't let the other side defend themselves. And that's just the way it is. What, like I said last time, what's the point of a trial if this is what you're going to do, if this is how you're going to play it? It's absolutely ridiculous. And by saying there's another video, that's just PR. That's just to get people talking. He may have said that, yeah, there's a much longer version, but that's probably not what he carries around on his phone to share. And the other part is, do we remember what kind of birth Natasha had? She had a water birth. Have you ever seen a water birth? There's no coochie hanging out. It's underwater. They don't boost it up out of the water to have a look. It's underwater. And that was a deep, huge tub that they both fit in. She was way under there. There was at no point a spread leg version of this video. So what she's saying is entirely false, but she's demanding that this man submit to the court, to all of these people, most of which are men, his wife, in an actual nude state, in a case where Blake's allegations are that she was nearly nude and Justin's friend was down between her legs. When we know she wasn't nude, she had a gown on her top half. She had, that covers more than she usually walks the red carpet in, I might add. Famous for her blazers and no shirts underneath, like the video I shared a week or two ago. Then she had, what they say, biker shorts or something like that. She had a fake pregnancy belly. And the man pretending to be the OB was not right up in there. And he is the most educated and decorated actor of all of them, of the entire staff put together. And she wanted to make this claim, but this is the same woman who's now saying that he has to turn in for all of these people to see his wife in that state. His wife is not a party to this lawsuit. How dare she ask for this? And she does it because if he refuses, it's better PR. Why is he trying to hide it? Why'd you come up with this so late in the game? And by your own admission, you glanced at it for a second. And any fool can look at that video and see it's an underwater birth. So there was no porn, as you call it. So let's wait and see what this judge does. Oh my gosh, what an egregious. It's absolutely a ridiculous ask for her to dare ask him. So this is two things now that she wants Wayfarer to not be able to defend. And the only reason you ask for that is because you know you don't have a case. If you have a case, you're not trying to strip the other side from being able to do this. And the other big thing is that it's not even the time for this. There there's a time period coming up, and I've mentioned it multiple times along the way, called, limine. People pronounce it differently, limine. It is when they get to the end, they're at the very, very end of discovery now. So, once all these expert testimony and all of this is done, discovery is really, really finished, they're gonna have a conference, and they're going to look, because discovery, not every piece of discovery gets turned to evidence. First of all, it's a huge mountain. They've been sifting through it. They'll continue to sift through it, select out of it what they intend to use for the actual trial as actual evidence. And they have to present that to the other side. Both of them have to do this. So each side is going to want to destroy the other side's evidence in whatever way they can. That's going to be a mess. That's going to be the biggest lemony fight I've ever seen in my life. So what they do is they have these templates for it. And if it's a video, they say the time markers in the video. If it's a document, they say the document. If it's a transcript from a deposition, they say that. Whatever it is, they identify that by its bait stamp and say what their legal argument is for why this needs to be eliminated as evidence. And they can offer, they can suggest, like, instead of this, can you say this part of the deposition? And so that gets fought, and they fight it just like they've been fighting each other all along. And we know they don't fight well. So if they can't come to terms on them by themselves, then it goes to the judge, and the judge will rule on it. So expect this to be a very contentious and lots of things being brought to the judge for him to decide. And this is the part that scares me to death. Yes, it will all be decided by a jury in the end, but limine is what I have been dreading since this began, because of the way this judge rules, the way he has just sweepingly dismissed things that should not have been dismissed. I feel like if he continues to rule in that way, no matter what beautiful, wonderful evidence they have managed to collect in this process, he will be the sole deciding factor for what actually gets to be seen by the jury. So this is going to be a very upsetting part of it, I bet, as soon as that starts. And the nice thing about it is that even if nothing gets brought to the judge, because like right now when they fight, we only know what's happening when the fight escalates to the point that they need the judge to make a ruling. But limine it's in documents, so they will be filed. So we'll get to see all of that, and the fighting that gets brought to the judge too. So that's going to be exciting to go through that all together. It will also give us a glimpse of the best evidence that each side has, because that's of course what they're going to target, anything that makes them look bad. So yeah, but that's the thing. So he will get to decide these two motions that she's put before him, asking him to basically mute Wayfarer on these two subjects. In the one, to instruct the jury, it's just insane, the gall this woman has to ask for this stuff in the first place. But what he's gonna decide is a little scary, I'm not gonna lie. Then we'll see what he decides about whether or not he's going to demand that this video get shared. And if Jamie doesn't share it, he could have, they're going to slap contempt charges and stuff like that on him. But I know a lot of men would not do that. They would not hand it in. Yes, they can. They can appeal. If he rules badly, they can. because it's ridiculous. She doesn't need it. She could have, like I said, done this in limine. It's really crazy timing. It's either way too late or way too early. It's just desperation. They know they cannot win based on the evidence that they have compared to what Wayfair has, and so these are their desperate movements to try to cancel out any evidence that the other team has. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Because if you're a juror and you see this brought up and the other side doesn't even try to defend it, you're going to be like, "Oh, okay, they're guilty." It's crazy. It makes me so mad. Oh, I can make these bigger. Oh, there we go. I just saw they got new things for the putting the comments on the stage. Because someone had asked before about doing that. I didn't know how to add it afterwards. But I think you can still access it. You can go to live chat and still read it. But I like this that it's on the screen now, the chat. Okay, guys. Well, I imagine it's pretty late there because I just saw the time here. So we have not eaten yet. It's like 2:00 p.m. here. So, oh no, I just lied. I had some dim sum. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining, even though it's so late. And I have this episode here about jumping through hoops. I have that one finished. It's just not recorded. So probably when I get back home, I'll go ahead and either record it or just do it live because I did find some really good information in it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish it. But I wanted to get through all of those before the reply, but it just took me forever to do it. And then it ended up they didn't even fight back on most of those. So everybody have a wonderful, wonderful night and a great weekend. And I will see you guys very, very soon. Thank you so much, my mods. I remembered. Thank you, Christina and Jane.